Yo he ayudado a muchas personas, mujeres pues, en especial, con niños. Por aquí hay muchos que han pasado y nunca han llegado. Se han caído y se han matado. Y por eso yo digo que siempre una persona por aquí necesita a alguien que lo guíe, pero que lo guíe bien guiado. Porque solo le da duro.
Let's talk about a truth most governments won't admit. Not publicly, not proudly, and certainly not in any press conference. While the United States wages war at its border, building walls and deploying drones, there's another country in this immigration equation that's quietly profiting from the chaos: Mexico. You've heard of the coyotes, the cartels, and the migrants risking it all for the so-called American dream. But what if I told you there's an entire system, supported by the Mexican state itself, that makes millions off this movement? Today, we expose how the Mexican government profits from illegal immigration, turning human desperation into institutional revenue.
Más que el dinero, más que todo. Como yo siempre lo he manejado con mi esposo y mi niña. Estamos en una barca y si no remamos juntos no vamos a salir.
I have no explanation to the fact of why we would want to have all of these people that we don't know come across the border.
Mexico isn't just a country, it's a corridor. Every year, hundreds of thousands of migrants from Central America, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, even as far as Haiti, enter southern Mexico with one goal in mind: reaching the U.S. border. But here's where it gets uncomfortable.
I would like to send a message to anyone who is thinking of doing this route. It's very dangerous. If I knew this, I wouldn't have done it.
Instead of stopping the flow, the Mexican government has set up a complex structure that both controls and capitalizes on it. Imagine checkpoints designed not to halt migration, but to extract money from it. Fees, permits, bribes, fines, detentions. The route north is not just dangerous, it's a business.
Para mí es muy duro. Soy mamá soltera.
She said that she was a single mum. She had left her mother and 2-year-old son at home.
She misses and loves him, but she's going to the United States because she wants to build a better life for him.
Let's start with a term you've probably never heard of: humanitarian visas. On paper, they sound noble. Mexico offers temporary visas to migrants fleeing poverty or violence.
El presidente de México nos está colaborando con un permiso de oportunidad más para los inmigrantes, ¿me entiendes? Para no batallar, porque mucho peligro corremos ahí para llegar a Estados Unidos.
But in reality, these permits create an economy of dependence. They're often handed out arbitrarily, pushing migrants to pay intermediaries or bribe officials just to get processed. And guess who charges processing fees? That's right, the government. Each year, thousands of migrants apply for these permits, paying between $30 to $150 each, not including unofficial fees. Multiply that by the hundreds of thousands flowing in, and you're talking millions in revenue. It's not charity, it's not compassion, it's a systemized toll booth on a highway of desperation. Now picture this: overcrowded detention centers run by Mexico's INM, Instituto Nacional de Migración. To the public, they're framed as humanitarian holding facilities. But inside, migrants are often detained indefinitely unless they pay to leave, sometimes via deportation fees, sometimes through bribes, and other times via lawyers connected to INM officials.
Desde el 29 lo trajeron acá y el 31 lo hicieron firmar bajo engaño, porque él, ¿cómo no va a firmar esto sin defenderse? Y después va a meter un amparo, imagínate. Y ellos resuelven, pero después Pachuca. Y ellos resuelven que no le pueden dar el beneficio. ¿Por qué? Porque ya tiene una resolución y él la firmó bajo engaño.
Aún con residencia permanente y una hija mexicana de 12 años, Ulises José Ochoa Martínez, esposo de Betsalí, fue detenido en Pachuca el 23 de enero y obligado a firmar su repatriación voluntaria a Venezuela.
In 2021 alone, Mexico detained nearly 300,000 migrants. Some stayed days, others weeks. The longer the stay, the more processing costs are incurred. Many migrants are forced to pay for food, phone calls, or expedited deportation. And here's where it gets darker. Private contractors often run these services, many with government ties. So every deportation, every sandwich, every step of bureaucracy becomes a financial transaction. This part is almost absurd. In recent years, the Mexican government began issuing exit orders to migrants, a piece of paper that says, "Leave Mexico within X days." It's not real deportation. It's just an excuse to push the migrant toward the U.S. border. But here's the catch. To leave, they need to buy a bus ticket. These tickets, often sold through specific terminals tied to INM or approved vendors, are sometimes sold at triple the normal price. Migrants are told, pay up or wait. This isn't about helping migrants move. It's about extracting money from every step. The transportation system isn't just aiding migration, it's profiting from it. But the game isn't just about money, it's about leverage. Mexico often uses immigration as a bargaining chip with the United States. When the U.S. threatens tariffs or trade restrictions, Mexico suddenly becomes aggressive, rounding up migrants, deploying troops, doing photo ops of border enforcement. But when relations are stable, enforcement loosens, and the flow resumes. In other words, migration becomes foreign policy. The Mexican government can say to Washington, "We're helping you. Now give us aid, investment, or a better trade deal." It's a win-win for politicians, a lose-lose for migrants. Now, add another layer, international NGOs. Mexico receives millions in aid from the UN, the US, and the EU, all in the name of migrant protection. That includes money for shelters, food programs, legal aid, and training for border agents. But guess who often manages the flow of this money? Mexican institutions, local municipalities, and politically connected nonprofits. Some of it helps, sure, but much of it disappears into paperwork, bureaucracy, or corrupt hands. So now, it's not just migrants paying. It's global taxpayers funding the system too. And we haven't even talked about the cartels and coyotes. The Mexican government has long been accused of turning a blind eye to migrant smuggling, and for good reason. Coyotes pay local police to pass through. They pay federal officials to ignore safe houses. In many towns, they operate openly, while government vehicles patrol nearby. It's not incompetence, it's collusion. Every migrant moved by a coyote is part of a massive shadow economy. And the government knows it. Stopping it would require breaking the same system that keeps the cash flowing. And here's the part no one talks about. The profits don't stop at the border. Even when migrants successfully reach the United States, Mexico still cashes in. How? It's called remittances, the money immigrants send back home to support their families. In 2023, Mexicans living abroad, mostly undocumented, sent over $63 billion back to Mexico. That's more than Mexico earns from oil exports, more than tourism, more than any single source of foreign income. It's not just family support, it's an economic engine. That money fuels entire communities, paying for groceries, housing, education, even local businesses. In some rural towns, remittances make up over 50% of the local economy. And guess who loves this? The Mexican government. They don't have to create jobs. They don't have to solve poverty. The migrants, the very people forced to flee, become the solution to Mexico's economic problems. The government collects taxes on remittance finance purchases. Banks and money transfer services take their cut. Local politicians campaign on remittance-funded infrastructure. It's a win for everyone, except the migrant. Because while they live undocumented in the U.S., working long hours in kitchens, farms, and factories, they're also keeping Mexico afloat from 2,000 miles away. In this twisted system, Mexico loses people but gains profit, making illegal immigration not a crisis, but a cash flow strategy. So, when we talk about immigration, we tend to focus on the wall, the crossings, and the U.S. policies. But there's a middleman in this story. Mexico, not just a victim, not just a transit zone, but a participant, a profiteer. The truth is, illegal immigration is not just a humanitarian crisis. It's a business model. And for the Mexican government, it pays well to keep it going. Next time you hear about the border, remember, follow the money. If this story opened your eyes, share it. Subscribe for more breakdowns of how systems work and who they work for, because every crisis has a blueprint, and every blueprint has an architect.